All right, YouTube, how's it going today? We're another lovely production brought to you by Ty's Acumen Productions. Today we're bringing you podcast episode 3. We're going to be talking about all manner of things, from gay rights to certain unalienable rights. You know what I mean? And I think a good segue from that is to welcome our special guest, none other than the magnificent, the talented, the one and only, my fucking brother Taylor. How you doing, Taylor?
I'm not that talented.
Yeah, you're allowed to talk now. You're allowed to talk. I thought you were going to ask, am I allowed to talk? Yeah, you're allowed to
Before we get anywhere, we're actually on episode 4.
Oh, shit. I knew that.
All right.
Episode 4. Anyways, brother's here. How you doing? Anyways.
Ignore that.
Doing all right.
Yeah, regardless, it's a bit of a different episode. We're not having the Z squared, as it were, the double Zach. Now I got
the alien.
The alien. My actual brother Taylor. I know I said that, but this is biological blood. How does that feel, Taylor, to be related to somebody as awesome as me? We'll go ahead and start the podcast.
It has its moments, you know.
Kind of annoying, right?
Yeah, it's more annoying than anything I'd say, but no, I'm just kidding.
All
That's
right.
why I didn't really want to do this, man. I don't know what to say.
Is that an insult?
I don't know if you're trying to make fun of me or call me fat, but irregardless, a made-up word that I just made. Let's go and move into our main topic of conversation is that of King Arthur. Me and Mr. England here, we saw an advanced screening of that. And it's a Guy Ritchie film, as we talked about.
Screening, huh?
Yeah, right. We know Guy. We got him on a personal email level.
He sent me the script. He's like, "What do you think?"
I was like, I gave him my P's and Q's. I said there's a little bit of I's and T's that miss dotting and crossing, but other than that, he did a pretty good job.
I actually spit on it and I scanned it back to him. I gotta be honest with you. I didn't get past.
Did you come or did you spit on it?
I gotta be honest with you. I didn't get past the cover page.
But get past King Arthur by Guy Ritchie.
I'm like, no. But yeah, we saw it. What was it? Thursday? Last Thursday.
It was good. What do you rate it, Zach? What is your England rating? As it?
Well, my official rating after the movie was a solid 1 out of 1.
For it being a movie.
It followed all the criterion I have for my 1 out of 1 scale rating. Is it a movie? I have a checklist, and it's just, is it a movie? Check it, and it gets a 1 out of 1.
It's a movie. It's a fucking movie.
Yeah, that's right. Like, what do you think about that YouTube video? I gave you 0 out of 1 for not being a movie. But no, I mean, but being serious, it was probably like on our last, what was it? Our last episode, I think we did projections for it, or I gave a projection. I said like 6.4 out of 10 or some bullshit. I think it might be a little bit lower. It might be like a 6 or a 5.5 or something like that. And
I think that's a very astute observation. I think a 6.4 is a very loving score. Like that's
right.
That's a very accurate.
But I mean, I think that's a decent. I think you could argue for that. I mean, probably nothing any higher because me and Tyler, the first thing we said was like, that movie was way too fucking long. It was only 2 hours and 2 minutes, but it felt like 2 and 45.
No, yeah, that was my biggest thing right off the fucking top is it's exactly what you said in that, it felt like 2.5 hours, even though it was only 2 and 2 minutes or whatever. But there was a lot of what seemed like, in my opinion, unnecessary setup shots of look at this beautiful landscape and isn't it really cold where the snow is? And you're like, yeah, it is. What am I looking at?
I never thought of that.
Nothing. And there's probably a word for that in film, but I call it laziness. No, I don't know. I thought that the way that the characters interacted with each other, and even the story itself kind of lacked that Guy Ritchie feeling of and I know, Taylor, you can agree with me in this because I know you've seen Snatch, being my brother. We've watched Snatch and we've watched Rock and Rolla. Yeah, my brother. That's actually something to talk about. That's interesting. My brother wasn't that big of a fan of Snatch, which I don't understand.
Couldn't get into it.
Excuse
He
me.
couldn't get into it.
What
Why?
the fuck?
What threw you away from it, Taylor? Maybe I've never asked you this. Maybe I have. I don't remember. But what was like?
Better not
the
say
moment
Brad Pitt's accent.
Yeah, please don't say Brad Pitt's accent.
I mean, it's been a few times, like a couple different times.
Right. You've tried to watch it.
But, yeah, I don't know. I've never... Maybe there was too much going on. I don't know. It was a few years ago since I've watched it. And
right.
Just...
Well, no, it's... I mean, our father is actually not a big fan of Snatch, which I remember watching it and watching it.
You know, that's probably more than anything. That's what it was.
Right, is the fact
right.
that are dead. I didn't really understand something to the extent of, like, he didn't get the story or something. And
yeah, honestly, I think that's more of what it was, too.
Which is weird to me because as somebody who had seen a few Guy Ritchie films before watching Snatch, maybe that's what it is like the fact that I had seen a few before going into Snatch and then, like, kind of knew what I was getting into with Snatch, and that made it all the more better for me. But, like, you liked Rock and Rolla, Taylor, right? Taylor?
Yeah, what was that? I'm sorry, you were breaking up. The Rock and Rolla?
Yeah, I was gonna say the Rock.
Yeah,
and
from
Rolla.
what I remember, yeah, I mean it was a decent flick.
Yeah, like, you liked the story, you liked how the characters, like, they ended up owing a bunch of money to, like, a mafia drug lord, if you will. Not really mafia, but like a bad guy, if you will. Somebody who doesn't pay his fucking taxes. A real piece of shit. He... the way I want to say this is, like, the way I want to word this is, like, a lot of Guy Ritchie films, in my opinion, are structured that way of, like, there's somebody who's, you know, big and on top in that town, and they're kingpins in that regard of, like, whether it's drug dealing or with Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, it was the guy was, like, not a professional poker player, but...
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of I really liked.
Yeah, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Where they were card players.
Yeah, and Jason Statham was in it, and he was really young and shit like that. That movie,
that was a really good
awesome, dude. But Snatch, like, so you know what I'm talking about then, Taylor, of, like, how the characters in...
Yeah, one was on top, and then it's like there's people on the bottom that are trying to... What was that other one?
Go ahead.
No, actually, that was Lock, Stock.
No, what I was going to say is that idea of, like, you know, one guy's on top, Taylor. Like, one guy is just the king of the city. And then, you know, there's, like, a ragtag group of friends. It's probably most of the time 4. I think it was 4 in Snatch as well. I don't think there's many more than that. But it's like this group of characters. They do something, and they break the law and commit a crime. And in committing the crime, they fuck over, like, some head mafia boss or something like that. And then the whole movie is them getting the mafia boss's money. That's a Guy Ritchie film in itself for me. Like, I feel like that's the formula that he's always used. And, like, it's always been really good for me. Like, I really enjoyed it. But with King Arthur... What was the name of what's the subtitle after that? King Arthur? What was it? I don't remember, Zach. Something.
Legend of the Sword, I think.
Legend of the Sword. That's what it was. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. Had almost none of what I liked in Guy Ritchie films. And that's not to say that it's a bad thing. I'm going to preference this by saying that I enjoyed King Arthur. King Arthur was a good movie, and it's something that you should watch. I'm not going to try to go too in-depth into spoilers because I know it's not even out yet. But it kind of lacked that Guy Ritchie feeling of, like, yo, we're going to go do something. We're going to go commit a crime. And in doing so, like I keep saying, we're going to fuck over the big guy up top. And then the big guy up top is going to want his money. And then that's what we do. We spend the whole money.
It's a completely different feel, though. I mean, King Arthur was like a historical movie, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's only so much Guy Ritchie can do and put his own feel in, because if they're straying completely away from the original story and tale, they're kind of fucking themselves down the line for future films, like we were saying earlier, that they want to...
Go ahead and tell my brother that. because I don't think he knows that, but they plan on making 6 films out of this King Arthur franchise.
Yeah, they wanted to do 6 films, so if they strayed far from the main story of all the original tales and whatnot and folklore, then they would be fucking themselves by making it difficult for any continuity down the line.
To keep making new ones.
There was a lot of the typical Guy Ritchie feel to it, though. Like when they were all plotting in a certain point in the movie, when they're all plotting and kind of throwing off their plans at each other, there was all kinds of just ridiculous I wouldn't say ridiculous dialogue. What worked with the time period, because since it's like a medieval time, you wouldn't expect the way that people talk like they would in Snatch or Lock, Stock. And they were like witty dialogue, and there's quick cuts jumping from each character and whatnot, and they all have their own little storyline that they want to say and plan. I mean, they had the typical Guy Ritchie feel, but for 2 hours and 2 minutes, there wasn't nearly enough. And in like typical Guy Ritchie movies, the good dialogue is some of the best parts. That movie had a lot of good dialogue, and then some of it you're just like you aren't sure if you're supposed to be laughing because of the way that it was either delivered or the way it was worded. You're like, is that supposed to be funny?
No, all right. So really, really interesting. I don't know what to call this, but like while we were watching the movie, there's a few scenes that like. So, of course, with this King Arthur sword, Taylor, I guess we'll go into spoilers a little bit. I said I wasn't going to try to, but I don't think
Well, you got to. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think you could talk about a movie and not talk about spoilers, but there's one scene, Taylor, whenever he's using the King Arthur blade, as it were, and it's kind of... How would you describe it, Zach? Where tell me if this description matches yours, where it's like, as soon as you grab it, time pretty much slows down around you, or you move so fast that it seems like time is moving so slow, and he's able to just cut through, all his enemies and just lightning quick and shit like that. But there was this one scene where he's fighting and stuff like that, but he's not using 2 hands. That's the whole thing. You put the second hand on there, and then holy shit, it comes alive. But like, it was so funny.
We still talking about the sword?
Yeah, right. It was interesting because there was like a whole group of people fighting and shit like that, and I guess people that had trained King Arthur when he was a little kid. He was. I don't even know what to call it, because that whole aspect of the movie seemed highly racist to me. And I don't want to say racist because I don't want to seem like one of those fuckers, but it was like, of course, the one guy who knows Kung Fu is what? Asian, right? Like, so the Asian guy has the Kung Fu.
Yeah, I think in the context, though, it works. In the context of the movie, I think it works. But I could see how that would come off as racist. But the scenes when he was going in slow motion and like jumping from enemy to enemy and stuff like that, and like launching like big gusts of wind with the sword, those were actually really cool. And it was kind of, I've seen a lot of comparisons of other people that had seen early screenings, and they were saying, I hadn't seen the Assassin's Creed movie, but a lot of people were saying that, and they were kind of getting like a video game vibe from it.
Dude.
And
that Assassin's Creed movie was god-awful.
Yeah.
You watched it, Taylor? I didn't even
Dude, god-awful.
But
I wish I hadn't. No, actually, I didn't watch it because I fell asleep in the movie theater.
Well, that doesn't count. You went high anyway.
Well, still, that don't help.
Yeah.
That'll make me fall asleep.
But overall, the fighting. The movie's. I guess it's an action adventure, but it's a fighting movie essentially, and the fighting wasn't anything to like, oh shit, you got to go see it for this scene. The slow motion scenes.
You know what? You're exactly right, Zach. That itself, like that statement in itself, the fact that it's supposed to be a fighting movie, and then all of the sword fighting was bullshit. I didn't even notice that. I was kind of like so intoxicated with the fact that, hey, we're here at a movie premiere, we're hanging out with Guy Ritchie or whatever. None of this is true. But like we watched the advanced screening or whatever, and I got a free King Arthur hat. I'm fucking a hog in heaven. You know what I mean?
Automatic 10 out of 10.
Like, this gold leaf hat, like King Arthur, the fucking Legend of the Sword. Like, are you kidding me? No, but
what the hell? You just said something that reminded me. I mean, it's one thing that we always argue about. I mean, we haven't actually talked about it in any of our episodes, but I think one of the few things that screwed Guy Ritchie in this movie, and I wouldn't say screwed. Well, I mean, let's be honest. It's probably I don't know if it's going to bomb in the box office, but I don't know what the budget of the movie is, but I don't foresee it making a lot of money back.
Yeah, sounds like a bomb.
Yeah, yeah, okay. I guess that's the definition, isn't it?
I can hear.
Holy fuck! The estimated budget was $102 million.
Jesus Christ!
There's no way in hell it's making that back.
Jesus.
But
Christ, man. Say that again.
$102 million.
What was that? How many billion?
A billion. 102 million.
But I think what screwed it though for a lot of good points and parts was it being PG-13.
I didn't even notice that. It was seriously a PG-13 film?
There was PG-13. There was one F word, which...
Yeah, I don't watch PG-13 films. I'll be honest.
You're dumb.
Did you see Cheaper by the Dozen too? I didn't watch it.
You know why? Because it's PG-13. But I mean, first of all, Guy Ritchie could have done, I think, a lot more with probably a lot of the dialogue if he didn't. Well, I mean, it might have been one of those movies where they write it, they do it, they film it, and then when they send it off to the rating system, they're like, yeah, it's PG-13. Sometimes it's the other way where they're saying, this movie's got to be PG-13, so you're having to fucking write around it.
Yeah, that's like more of like a studio doing that type of thing.
And so depending on how that works, I don't know how that process was working with them, but if that's the case, then I think he did a reputable job. But if he had free will to write it however he pleases, granted he wasn't the only writer, but if they would have pushed it more to a rated R, the dialogue I think would have been a little bit funnier, and it would have just been a lot better to listen to because it could have been realistic with cuss words being thrown.
Oh yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense.
Right, and then
your soul didn't hit, and then he cuts his head off or something like that.
For being medieval and then PG-13, the fighting wasn't awful, but I feel like it could have been a lot better if it was rated R because some of the points when someone gets stabbed or even
it doesn't seem real.
I mean, not that it didn't.
They did that thing where they put the blade in between their armpits, and they go, "Oh!"
You can see that it wraps around his side. But well, one of the main dudes gets stabbed, and I'm pretty sure it was in a scene we see, but you don't even realize he gets stabbed because it's PG-13 and like everything's hidden. You're like, did he get hurt?
You know, I just don't even know why they make PG-13 movies.
No, it's interesting.
Now that I'm not 13,
sell more tickets, man.
No, it's funny that you say that, England, because I didn't even realize that. I guess I don't have to call you England. I call you Zach now. The other one's there. But I didn't realize that movie was PG-13 until now that you're saying that. I'm like, wow, everything about that movie kind of makes sense now of like why there was almost no fighting scenes throughout the entire movie. Like they do the whole thing where he's fighting what's his name? The Jude Law. You know what I mean? At the end, whenever Jude Law.
Yeah.
He's in that movie.
Yeah, and we were talking about him prior to starting recording and stuff like that, and we were trying to figure out what was wrong with him because he first of all he's already shown several times he's not a bad actor, and we're thinking it's just the role and the character, and it's just one of those typical bad guys in those medieval movies. You can't really do much with them. So we're thinking, I don't want to say miscast because Jude Law's not bad, and I feel like you could pretty much give him anything as long as it's not complete shit. And I just think it's a crappy character, honestly. And however, it
is a really shitty character.
Yeah, the demon, whatever weird creature part is kind of cool, but it looked like a video game. It looked like Dark Souls.
No, all right. So the creature itself, you're right, is cool. And
I don't even know if that's canon to the original folklore.
Yeah,
Probably isn't.
I've never read the story, but what it is, Taylor, so you can understand what we're talking about, is there's the big castle that King Arthur's dad built his castle on, right? Or I should say the grounds that he built his castle on, and then from there it turned into, or I guess I should say, once King Arthur's dad died, his brother took over, and that was King Arthur's uncle, which is played by Jude Law's character. And then, in order to, because you're familiar with the King Arthur story of, he pulled the sword from the stone, and that meant that he was rightful.
Yeah, I didn't know that was King Arthur, but yeah.
What did you think that was?
Hansel
Well,
and
I
Gretel?
didn't really put a name to it. I just know the story. With the
I
sword
didn't put
and
it
the
in your
rock.
face. I just saw a face that said he's king. But no, it's like King Arthur comes back, and this is actually something that, let's talk about this really quick. I love how this is turning into the King Arthur podcast.
Yeah.
But, he like his dad is fighting his uncle, which is Jude Law Taylor, and Jude Law killed his wife and sacrificed his wife to what we'll call like a water demon, right? Like, what else would you call that?
It was like a fucking
water spirit, if you will, right? Like, I don't know what else to fucking call it.
And it was like an octopus. It was weird.
She had tentacles like an octopus, Taylor.
That was
Like
actually kind of really cool and well done, I think.
I like that a lot. I like the part like it. It kind of gave a little bit of a background.
It was creepy.
Well, this character had a background story, but it's like, we're not going to tell you any of that shit. We're just going to let you know about King Arthur and how he fucking pulled the sword from the stone. But it was really interesting how...
That was like an hour into the movie.
Yeah, it's funny. It took forever, first of all, to get to this point. And at this point, it was like... I keep saying that, but Jude Law had killed his wife and sacrificed his wife to this water spirit or this river spirit or whatever kind of demon it was. And it was literally like this big fat woman who had like these nasty octopus tentacles, like literally all around her. And he killed his wife and he sacrificed his wife to this demon thing. And then his wife became one of like these tentacle owned beasts or whatever. If you want to help me out here, Zach, I don't know what else to call it. It's just something like that where I guess it's like their spirit never truly moved on. So it was like their spirits are trapped in this proverbial octopus.
It's not really explained, so I'm assuming they just are guessing. What the fuck?
Jesus Christ!
Is this a horror movie? I guess they're just assuming people have some. I mean, that if they're assuming people know the King Arthur story, that's pretty in depth because I've never. I mean, I don't know shit about King Arthur. I just know Excalibur pulling the sword, and then I think. You remember the scene when he throws it into the river? That actually happens, but I think someone else does that in the book. I think like a female does it. I don't know, but
fucking women.
Probably not a female.
No, it probably is a woman. Goddamn women.
But and like I have, I guess the best way to explain my feelings for the movie is like it's just mixed. Like there's a lot wrong with the movie. But there was a lot of strong points too.
No, yeah, I'm being a dick like you're talking. I'm talking over you, but that's exactly how I feel about the movie. It's like I'm mixed. It's like I don't know if I'd ever go out and see it in theaters again, but you know what? I might rent it when it comes out on DVD or something like that to watch it again. Zach makes a face. I don't know about that. I mean, think, I'll pirate the movie.
If someone's paying me to watch it. No, I, in my opinion, I think that's a one and done for me. I don't know. I mean, maybe
never again.
Yeah, I mean, knowing Guy Ritchie, maybe he's like, "Oh, I got this director's cut R-rated. You guys got to see."
You guys don't even
but
know about
the problem is, it's 2 more hours of film. Like, come on,
blood. Fucking 4 hours.
Like, what the fuck? What's gonna happen?
No, but that was definitely
just combined in 2 movies.
It's actually the second film. I'm just going to show you the second film.
It's the first and the 6th film. You're like, what the hell's going on? But like, my whole thing, Taylor, really quick. I'm talking to you. I mean, we're talking to YouTube at this point, but you're the person that'll respond, and I know you hadn't seen the movie. It's interesting it's an interesting King Arthur story. So do you remember the King Arthur movie, Taylor? That they play the shit out of on FX and stuff like that. I'm gonna say the lead's name, and you're not gonna know it, but it's got Clive Owen in it.
Love him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Movie, Taylor, like he had like
I
a
don't know
bunch
that
of
one, man.
like there was a guy who had like a hawk and then like 2 swords, and there was I think the guy with the hawk was really good with a bow, shit like that.
God, you know, I want to know what you're talking about, but
You want to know?
It's shit.
But I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed to know what you're talking about. But in terms of that King Arthur movie versus this King Arthur movie, I would rather see this King Arthur movie. I'd rather see Guy Ritchie's King Arthur than whoever did Clive Owen's King Arthur. What about you, England?
I mean, I don't even remember that movie. How much longer is that movie? Or if it's probably
What's that? That would actually be 2.5 hours.
Knowing that movie, it's probably really short. Oh God,
hour and a half.
It's 4 minutes longer, but what's his name? Antoine Fuqua or whatever, the guy that directed Training Day, released a director's cut that's 142 minutes.
Jesus.
Yeah. What the hell? Where are they get what? Where are they? Why are they filming so much? That movie. Okay. Wait. All right. So
that's a full-length film right there.
You know, we might be. That's beyond a full. You know, we might be super wrong. So this is surprising to me. The King Arthur we watched that just came, that will be coming out. Budget was $102 million. The old King Arthur that came out in 2004 is $120 million.
Jesus fucking Christ!
But
$1 billion. What?
No, just $1 million. But it made $203.6 million. I'm curious if this one's going to make anywhere near that. I feel like I'm going to be wrong. I probably am.
You went out on a limb and made your estimate. I'm going to go ahead.
Well, I just don't think it's going to make its money back.
How much did it cost to make again? 100 and what million?
100 billion, I thought.
100 and a billion? 100 and a billion?
$100 and then $1 billion. No, IMDb said estimated 102 million or something like that.
I bet it makes 110 back.
When did the first Pirates of the Caribbean come out? Was it 2003?
2001? I don't know. I don't even actually remember.
Let's see. Hold on. Yeah, it was 2003. So, King Arthur.
Is that when King Arthur came out?
King Arthur came out in 2004, and King Arthur had Keira Knightley, so that probably bumped up some people buying, fucking getting tickets.
Buying tickets, yeah.
Also,
I love when Beautiful Lies.
It was produced by Bruckheimer, who usually doesn't make, who also did Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't think that guy ever loses money.
I don't think that guy.
I don't think he does, dude. It's ridiculous.
I think he's allowed to. I think he has like an allergic reaction to it or something.
Like he'll shoot out shit, and it's like, oh, it's gold. But I mean, you look at
loss here.
You look at his notable work on Wikipedia, though. I mean, there's good stuff here. There's Beverly Hills Cop. I guess he started CSI.
Wait, the Las Vegas Crime Scene Investigation?
Yeah, I guess.
That's my favorite one.
Top Gun, The Rock, Con Air, Crimson Tide, Armageddon.
Top Gun?
Enemy of the State, Gone in 60 Seconds, Black Hawk Down, Pearl Harbor, Bad. I mean, not that. I'm not saying these movies are great,
the list goes on.
They all made a shit ton of money. But yeah, I mean, if someone was like, yeah, you saw the new King Arthur, should you go see it? I mean, like,
yeah.
The answer is.
I don't even know.
Taylor's got a good question. The answer is, I mean, would you recommend somebody go seeing it? Yes or no, England?
I mean, okay, this is how I'll put it.
How much of a fan are you of Game of Thrones?
This is how I'll put it. If you like Game of Thrones, don't ever see it.
There's no fucking story.
No, I wouldn't recommend going to the movies to see it. I mean, seeing it at the movies was cool, but I wouldn't tell you to spend $12, $13, $14
$40.
Yeah, I would never do it. If you could like rent it on Redbox and you're like bored out of your mind, sure. And it's the last disc there, and there's no other movie.
You guys are really making this sound like a terrible movie.
It's that's the thing, because I don't.
To the machine. You're like, I guess I'll take King Arthur.
There's like 6 slots, and it's all King Arthur. I guess we'll have to go with King Arthur. But yeah, we are making this only a shitty movie. It really isn't. It's just
that's what I'm saying. It's like I liked it. I thought it was like it's no Clive Owen King Arthur. You know what I mean? No.
I do. 203 million box office.
I guess. Huh?
But
what is King Arthur's or Clive Owen's King Arthur? What is that rated? Do you know? Can you see that off?
Yeah, I was just reading that. It was on Rotten Tomatoes they gave it a 31, but let me see its actual rating, because surprisingly Snatch, which has like a 74, but its actual rating is like only 6.1 out of 10, which kind of surprised me. So yeah, they gave King Arthur 5 out of 10.
The Clive Owen edition.
The Clive Owen one. So I don't remember enough of that movie to.
Who is this Clive Owen character?
He's the old King Arthur in the 2004 one. But I don't remember the one. I don't remember the movie enough to say the new one's a little bit better. I don't remember it enough to say that.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now on Rotten Tomatoes. The Clive Owen King Arthur, and he's got a 31%.
Some of the shots are actually pretty cool in the old one.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I really enjoyed the old one. Is that if you're making a movie about King Arthur, and of course they're trying to franchise this, so maybe that's what it turns into. But it's like if you're making a movie about King Arthur, then you have to show his Knights of the Round Table. You have to and give background on that.
Yeah, they did end on that, which was that is a humongous spoiler.
Oh yeah.
But
spoiler alert.
A little delayed.
After I've already said it.
Yeah. I just ruined the whole movie for you. But
if you read the book, you know what the fuck's gonna happen.
He gets the sword out of the rock.
He becomes fucking king.
Well, I'm not gonna fucking see it. But all right, well.
Plot twist: the whole movie is just him trying to get it out of the rock.
Well, you know what, Taylor? That's what we were saying. That's what we didn't understand is how fucking quickly he just pulled that shit from the stone.
Yeah. That whole scene had like a lot of contrived build up, and then when it got to it, you're like, okay,
wait, really? Okay, exactly.
And then there's like a whole thing where like he like passes
Didn't
out.
seem all that hard.
Yeah.
I could have done that.
Well, there was a cool aspect to it to where like there's power within the sword that he has only within his blood. So when he touched it, he kind of got like shocked or like, ugh.
Yeah, okay.
That was kind of cool. Yeah. And then once he started pulling it, he's like, "Oh, I feel something." And then he like, and then he passes out.
Everybody get back! It's coming.
And then he passes out. I'm like, all right. So there was a lot of like the movie was like a roller coaster. You're like, oh, that's a really good idea, and then like, oh, that's stupid.
I don't mean to be rude, but like, fuck off. You're like when you say a movie's like a roller coaster, too many people are like, oh, a roller coaster of emotions. But
yeah, I love it.
Of like you being like, oh, this is a good movie, and like, oh no, this is really shitty.
Yeah.
Oh, this is okay. Oh no, this is really shitty.
I remember there was one point in the movie too. I forget what it was. I think it was during I think it was like at the end of one of the big fighting scenes, one of the first ones that they like officially show. That was good. I mean the fighting scenes weren't bad. And then I looked at Tyler, and Tyler's like, "I'm falling asleep over here."
It was so fucking stupid. All right, like I'm gonna be the asshole to his niceness. Like he said, the fighting scenes were good. In my opinion, there were 2 fucking fighting scenes.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's
movie.
what I'm talking about. Not the big one at the end, which was the video game fighting scene, but the first one where he first starts using the power, and then everybody in the theater started laughing. The laugh ruined that scene because that scene was actually pretty cool.
No, that's like the one thing. That's what I wanted to bring up, and I don't know if I ever actually got to that, but like, okay, so Taylor, there's a scene where he's fighting people in the kung fu guy's quote unquote dojo, if you will. Like it's a dojo. If there had ever been one. he's training people to fight with swords and shit like that, and to be badasses and stuff. But he
excuse me.
He had this scene where they were trying to assassinate Jude Law's character, which was the king at this point, and
I'm gonna go pee real quick.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't remember the character's name in the movie, but I know he plays Littlefinger in Game of Thrones, which I know you're not familiar with that series, Taylor. But in this movie, I should say, he's an extremely amazingly good archer. Like he can hit he can hit what's the Star Wars reference, Taylor? He can hit fucking a couple of well, that's no bigger than a fucking womp rat. And he could hit a womp rat.
Okay.
You understand me? If I tell you he can hit a womp rat, you know what he means by his ability to hit a womp rat.
Yeah, I got you there. Sure.
He's really good with a fucking bow. Is essentially what I'm talking about, and that's kind of the thing that, like,
I got that part.
The scene of like the king, they sent out a diversion. They sent out like a fake somebody who's looks like the king, but isn't the king and shit like that. Sorry, I had to take a drink. But I didn't like more than anything is this Littlefinger character from Game of Thrones. He takes his bow and arrow, and he takes the arrow, and they're waiting for the king to get out, and then somebody gets out who looks like the king, and of course, spoilers if you didn't already know, it's a diversion. It's not really the king, and everybody is waiting for the signal, waiting for Littlefinger. His name's not Littlefinger in the movie, Taylor. Let me just preference this by saying I'm calling him Littlefinger because of what I remember from Game of Thrones, and Littlefinger is sitting there ready. He's got his bone drawn, and he's like gonna take out the captain of the guards, if you will, because this captain of the guards is somebody who's thrown him in jail a lot. They got a lot of quote unquote bad blood. It's a Taylor Swift song if you never heard it. But regardless, they were all like, hey, don't fucking shoot. That's not fucking the king. Like you're gonna waste our time. Don't do it. And then he looked at the captain of the guards, and he's like, well, quote unquote English fucking accent, I'm gonna do it. And then shot the arrow and killed the guard.
He got him.
He fucking got him. But my whole thing with the movie is that I would have loved a better description on who this Littlefoot character is. You know what I mean? His name's not Littlefoot in the movie. It's like some
Littlefoot from Land Before Time.
Is it okay? So I'm not even Jesus Christ. There's so many people that are going to be in the comments making fun of you.
Little Big Planet?
No, not exactly. What's his name from Game of Thrones? Who's that guy? Was it Goldfinger?
Littlefinger.
So his name is Littlefinger.
Game of Thrones.
Well, you just said Littlefoot like a second ago.
All right. Well, Littlefinger is different than Littlefoot.
Yeah.
And I might have said Littlefoot, but I meant Littlefinger.
Right.
But regardless, that whole scene of like, just because you watched it, so you can talk to my brother more about it. But like, of Littlefinger, he was like, he had the bow, and then he was all pulling it back, and he was gonna shoot the fucking captain of the guard, and they're all like, "Don't do it! Like we need to assassinate the fucking king!" And they're like, "Ah!" And then like he's like, "I'm gonna do it!" And then he does it, and my whole thing is,
"Oh, the crap!"
and Black Bar. I fucking hated that whole scene, man. I really feel like shit for watching the movie. I feel like a piece of asshole. Like just a real piece of it.
Because you watched the movie?
For King Arthur?
No. I'm trying to make some jokes here and have a good time.
Y'all are definitely not doing it any justice.
Well,
Yeah, Taylor's like, I never want to see this movie.
Yeah, I mean,
tell me like it's a bad
Y'all are making it sound god awful.
And that wasn't my goal, but
I enjoyed it.
The title of this ought to be "Don't See King Arthur."
You know what? Don't see it.
Listen to the last episode where we talked so much about the King Arthur movie, and then now that we've seen it, we're like, well, what the fuck happened?
Well, we were I mean, I don't think we sounded exciting. I think we were trying to sound optimistic because, like, we mentioned plenty of times before that, like, it's not anticipated by, I don't think, anybody. I don't even think Guy Ritchie wanted to release it. Like, please, guys.
We're just not releasing it. Just pretend like it never made.
It's like we just spent $102 million. We have to do something with it. Like, shit.
Are you sure though? Like that's like the.
Are you sure you want people to see this?
Or it's the other way around.
I think the best thing I ever did in my life was marry Madonna. God damn it.
Wait, Guy Ritchie did that?
You didn't know that? Yeah, that's one of the weirdest things. You fucking married Madonna.
She had more armpit hair than him.
What Madonna though? What Madonna?
What do you mean? What Madonna?
The only one.
I mean, isn't there like what's that? Like,
did somebody else
Madonna,
come out and call themselves Madonna?
I think it was Dennis Rodman.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Dennis Rodman said that. But I'm hoping I get some emails soon about Guy being like, why did you go and see it? Like
I'll write my next one. I gotta write 6 of these damn things.
Like you better feel bad for me. I gotta do 5 more of these. But
feel bad.
But hopefully he didn't sign a contract where he has to make 6.
Yeah, that would.
But honestly, if they're smart, which they probably are, because King Arthur isn't like crazy super popular of a franchise or story, but they probably are going to wait to see what their response is and how much money they make back.
Before they greenlight the second.
Yeah, they're like, all right, yeah, we'll do a second one. Like, you guys, you're down $102 million as of now.
We're fucking.
You sure you want to do it again?
It's like your budget's going to be $100,000 for the next one. But I'm hoping I get an email for maybe some more early screenings on something else that, I mean, I don't think because you gotta, it's hard to get.
Uploaded, man. People are gonna be like, you are so cynical, you're never gonna like it.
We're not giving you any tickets ever again. But, like, you went to a free movie and you're tearing into video.
It turns out the 40 people that listen to your podcast does not agree with your fucking.
It's like you went to a free movie and you're tearing into it. But yeah, I mean, I do feel kind of bad now that I think about it.
Yeah, it's not like we paid money to fucking see it.
That's the point. Like, that's exactly. I think that's my opinion on the movie. You can give it a rating on a number between 0 to 10, and like I'd give it, like, as of now it stands as probably a 6 out of 10 at most. But the best rating is I wouldn't pay to go see it.
Best rating.
Yeah.
The rating I would pay attention to is the guy telling you not to waste your fucking money on it.
Like, if I had to tell Guy Ritchie what I thought of the movie, like, I wouldn't pay to see it. I would pay to see a re-entry into
Guy Ritchie was standing here in my face. I'd be like, are you fucking retarded?
Why would you ever agree to do a King Arthur movie? But,
you can't fucking win with these people.
I would pay, though, to see, like, if they released Snatch back in theaters, I'd go see that. I'd spend $12, $15 on that. That'd be cool.
It's one of those things where you flash back to 2008 and everybody's like, why is somebody paying tickets?
My town are only $6.
What?
But yeah, where he's at, he's got that.
Yes.
I don't know if.
Yep. Hollywood 20.
It's like, so is that like nationwide? Like, who owns Hollywood 20?
No,
you know what I mean? Like,
it's been like that. I don't know if it should still be.
Making up like goddamn.
Yeah, forget the company.
They started doing $6 all the time.
No, it's not an AMC. It's the other one.
They started doing $6 all the time because the Cinebistro opened up down the street or like down the block, so they were losing customers. So now that it's $6 all the time, they're probably selling shit. I mean, I know it's like a half-hour drive from my house, and I'll go and drive down all the way there just to see it because it's $6 rather. But however, it's awful because of the parking and there's all the fucking prepubescent queers there. Like all the high school, not the high school. I mean, I guess
mouthful. Yeah, prepubescent queers.
But I mean, I guess they're high schools because I mean, what are you when you're a freshman? Like 14, 15? A lot of those kids are there, so they're going to see the like when I went to go see Split, which was actually an awesome movie, and James McAvoy was amazing in it. It's a PG-13 movie, and it's got M. Night Shyamalan's name all over it. Fucking preteens love his name. So I'm like, this is going to be awful because there are going to be so many fucking minors in there like, yeah, woo!
Yeah!
Woo! But that's the thing because I live right next to Royal Palm. I could literally walk there to a movie. It's like a 2-minute walk. Yeah, it would be more expensive. The theater's really nice now, though. They refurbished it. And it's like remodeled and stuff. And it's just
nice. It's not that nice. He's over exaggerating.
No, it's not that nice. It's pretty damn nice compared to what it looked like. And
yeah, fair enough. You're right. Compared to what it used to be.
And it's got a bar now.
If you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast, just give us a like and a thumbs up. And if you didn't, well, fuck off. Because
we don't care.
Because exactly. I mean, my brother hit the fucking nail on the head. We don't fucking care. But at the same time, if you love us, subscribe. It's as easy as clicking a button. You know, I mean, your mouse can't hurt you.
It literally is clicking a button.
Just let us inside you.
If you hate King Arthur as much as us, contact us. We'll gather money to shoot our own King Arthur.
We're actually working right now with Kickstarter, and we're gonna try and bring you our own reimagination of King Arthur. We're gonna treat you to a treat.
Set in the future.
Set in the future.
It's a sequel to King Arthur. What was it? Legend of the Sword, but it's also a prequel to Blade Runner. I'm not sure how we're going to mix those two. All right.
Anyways, I hope you guys love it. Subscribe.
And good night.